Hello everyone. Today in our series of Docplexus KOL interviews, we have with us Dr. Neelam Mohan, a renowned pediatric gastroenterologist, hepatologist and child liver transplant specialist with more than 21 years of experience. She is the first Indian doctor to start therapeutic endoscopic work for infants and children, and she has set up a new division in Medanta Medicity for the same. She has recently been felicitated with the most prestigious award, Dr. B.C. Roy National Award. Thank you, Dr. Neelam Mohan, for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be with Docplexus, and I enjoy the readings in Docplexus too.
Transplantation pricing affect the number of surgery, and what are the initiatives that has been taken to make it available to people with low socioeconomic income or...
Yeah, actually that's the sad part about it. Now the truth is that we are almost 1/10. Like the cost of transplant in USA would be more than 1 crore Indian rupees, and in UK would be around 70 lakhs to whatever 80 lakhs. So that way in India we say that the transplant cost is for a child would be close to 15 lakhs to around max say 20. But it's something like looking at around 15 lakhs. Now when we talk about it, the whole thing is there's a lot of cost involved. Even if you talk about it being done in a government sector, right now there are not any government sectors who are doing liver transplants in children. But when you talk about it also, it's somebody's money. It's, the taxpayers' money that you're actually looking into it. So the cost is pretty expensive, and the way we can cut down, what I can think is right from the challenges like, how I can cut down on investigation. So probably initially what we ask, so you need a lot of expertise, you need a lot of understanding, and sometimes for the first 4-5 days we ask for more tests than normal, and a newer person is probably over enthusiastic and maybe asking too much. And once you have a setup, you understand what's going on, maybe so you cut down the investigations. And then similarly the medicines, now the generic medicines, we can, maybe even the immunosuppressions are being produced in the country. So that, better than me, that there's a huge pharma industry boom in the country. And in the last entrepreneurs of the last couple of, years, 60% of them have been from the pharma industries. So there have been a lot of generics that have been there. But, something which can turn is about how I can look into the insurances. Right now, we don't have very good insurance system in our country where they are not encouraging all this. So we need to strengthen our insurance system, and we need the government to come out with some, ideas and policies. I agree totally that it is not possible for us to save one life. In that money, it's from the government point of view, they would probably want to save thousands of lives of people dying from, say, malaria or dengue. So they're absolutely justified, because the amount of GDP that I would end up spending in health sector compared to Western world is way less. So we are still less than 2, So with that, judiciously you have to. So I think it would be some time more till I answer that question. But yes, in the short interim, it has to be people like you and me who has to pitch in, and we should do something like Robin Hood, and that's my dream in the end. I hope you get to ask me that question, is that the people who can afford, like, they should sponsor an amount into a NGO or a society. That society or NGO should be able to finance some of the transplant, because I feel this is very poor in our country. You go to even a country like Africa, Nigeria, UK, there's so much of awareness about raising funds, but you don't hear that in India. So raising fund is something we're very bad at, and boon boon se ghada barta hai. So if I can donate a little bit and everybody can, and I've done that, there have been a lot of transplants in patients who could not afford, and we were able to generate some money through whatever raising funds and all that stuff. But there's a lot more to do.
What is your opinion about green corridor, and is there any experience that you can share with us?
That's a very interesting word. Initially, when I got to know about it, I was wondering what does that mean. It really means green corridor. Corridor is the passage, the way you're going. So sometimes, especially this comes from the Western world where there are a lot of cadaver transplants. In our place, it's predominantly living related transplants. So sometimes, like for example, Medanta, our institute, has been very famous for this green corridor because we got a couple of organs from Indore. So when you take out an organ from the body and then you store it in a solution, it's like cold ischemic time. So the organ is outside, not getting the blood supply. It's stored in a cold solution wherever, where it can get its oxygen a little bit. And then you have to shift it to the place where you want to carry to the recipient. So the time taken from the donor to the recipient, and if it is say out of. So when we got it from Indore, so from the airport, you just have to inform the traffic police. And we were so happy that in Delhi, there was so much of cooperation that they keep all your signals, they turn manually. So every signal you're going to get green. You will never have a red signal. So you start from there and you are in your ambulance. So the siren is going on, and throughout till you reach, it's like no signal and straightforward. So that is called the green corridor. And we've had this experience almost 3 times, I think.
Okay, that's great number. So you are the first Indian doctor to start therapeutic endoscopic work in infants and newborns. So can you please enlighten us about it?
Yeah, it was the first time I remember there was a baby who was 2.4 kgs, and this baby was not able to feed well, and I wanted to do an endoscopic gastrostomy, but because of the respiratory problems, they were not very happy to give anesthesia to this baby. So it was decided that the baby should not be shifted to the theater and get in anesthesia. So I volunteered that let me do the endoscopic gastrostomy under sedation control, which could be. So that's how I started doing procedures, not only like endoscopy or doing biopsies, and did a proper intervention which was called therapeutic gastrostomy. Gastrostomy means there's an opening where a tube is there and I can feed the baby through that. So that's what we did. And as I said, then after that, now we've been doing quite a lot about it. And the recent challenge was this 2 kgs transplant that we ended up doing. And before that, the youngest I did was around 4 kgs.
Dr. Mohan, what is your next vision and dream? What you want to do more in this field?
Well, actually, when I started 20 years back, my dream was to first start with a unit of Pediatric Gastroenterology. Then, ye dil mange more. So I moved to imagining that I should have a department of Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology. What is the difference between a department and a unit? In a unit, you have just 2 or 3 people working and you're under pediatrics. But I wanted to have a complete umbrella like in the Western world. So the department would be at least 10, 11. So with that vision, I moved to Medanta in 2010. And I created the first department in the private sector, which was gastroenterology, hepatology, and transplant. In fact, whether private or government, this was the first center where A to Z facilities were available when you thought about for anything to do with the intestine and liver, whether you're talking about metabolic, you're talking about genetic, you're talking about. We created a beautiful motility center, which is first of its kind in the entire country. The motility work, manometric work, research work. So that was my thing, which I thought I was never sure whether I would actually get that, to be honest to you. And it just happened. And last year I was just thinking that now I have a whole set of department with around 12 people, working in this field. What's next? Again, dil mange more. So now my next dream is that why not have a child hospital? So we should have something like a children hospital and not just be a branch of a major hospital, because there's so much of money into neurology and orthopedics and cardiology that people don't want to venture and work more into pediatric. And where have corporates invested? They've invested in maternity, and because they know it's like for deliveries they're going to pay a lot. But don't you think we need a children's hospital? I would imagine that it should be a self-sustaining but not a money-making thing, where we are able to give back to the society and give few percentage, 25, 30, whatever, back to the lower socioeconomic strata and the rest of the money. Because most of the people who are going to be investing money would want it back. So I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who want to do it for children. And when you want to do it for children, it's just give it. And it should be self-sustaining for the doctors. So if at all my dream comes true, you'll be there to interview me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we hope that it comes true. It would be beneficial for the country, a lot of people in the country. So it's a really good thought. So Dr. Mohan, do you think an online professional network of doctors like Docplexus can help doctors in India for better knowledge sharing?
Yes, indeed. Because you have to understand that, nowadays with the amount, you have to really plan out your time. There's so much to do, and we have to keep balance between clinical work, between academics, doing a bit of research. And so at the same time, this profession is one where you need to get updated about knowledge. And without that, it's not possible. It's like knowledge is a vast ocean and you need to share different drops of water. So there must be something which and I'm not knowing it. So when you go into this, and especially in your travel time, and you're able to, thanks to this multimedia and mobiles, so it's possible for us to go online and utilize that time. So as you people have done brilliant, you are now having not only the interviews, and the books are available and guidelines are available. So I think it is a beautiful gesture that the Docplexus has come into, and it is definitely the need of the day. And we need to circulate and percolate this much more, because the youngsters are more mobile savvy, so they will just grow and do it better than us.
Thank you, Dr. Mohan, for your kind words and sharing your valuable time and knowledge with us.
Thank you so much.
To stay updated on our latest KOL videos and interviews, please follow us on Twitter, like us on our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Happy Docplexing!